Okay, welcome back to Clarify, the final episode.
The final episode.
Where we're going to talk about Clarity, the title track of the album, and it's good to be here.
It is. It's been a lot of work up to this point.
Yeah, but I'm glad we're here. Yeah, we'll just jump right into my little...
Cassidy's History Corner.
Cassidy's final history corner. I wrote this song immediately after coming home from an EMDR therapy session, which, if you don't know what EMDR is, it's pretty cool, the science behind it. So it's the concept that the reason that a person has any level of PTSD after a certain trauma is that when we experience trauma, and it could be on any level, what happens when we go to sleep is usually our brain files memories away in their respective correct homes. But even when we're sleeping, our minds don't want to confront this trauma. And so memories never kind of get properly stored, which is why they have the effect that they do on us. So in EMDR, a therapist will evoke this REM state that you are in, and that's when your memories get stored by a couple different things. Like for me, I had my eyes closed and I was wearing these headphones that a beeping kind of went from left to right, and somehow that stimulates REM cycle, which is insane.
Interesting. And
then the therapist kind of walks you through the events of whatever event it was, like the step-by-step how a certain event unfolded. But then the idea is that you can kind of stop, and then the therapist will guide you and be like, so how are you feeling right now? If you could change things, what could you do? What would you say to this person, or what would you have done differently? And so then it's kind of like you have this reclamation over the event, and then it kind of takes the trauma edge off of it. Not like you forget or rewrite this story, but whatever it does, it allows for this memory to kind of be properly stored with this new context in which you kind of feel like you have this new experience with it. And it's a really cool thing. So yeah, I just kind of came home, and similar to Moonlight and Bird in a Cage, some of what was in this song had already existed and was some of the earliest material that I wrote. When I played that show in either 2016 or 2017, that was the first time we were playing any of this material. We played a weird version of Clarity. The verses have completely changed, the feel of the song, everything changed. However, the chorus stayed in 5, and we still have the same melody and the same lyrics. So when I say I came home and wrote it,
slower than where it was, maybe.
No, that the chorus section was up.
Was it up?
It was up and more aggressive and stuff. And so
before, right?
Yeah, and so I came home and I guess I found kind of the essence of the song overall, and then wrote the verses, which was really cool. Yeah, and I did need that context of this experience to kind of properly write this song, which is why it took so much time in between conceptualizing it and completing it.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I've ever had a song where years had gone by.
And you changed something?
Before finishing it,
yeah.
Yeah. So the emotional origin for the song is, I think even if I wrote it kind of isolated, it feels like this definitive closing of a chapter. I also wrote this song, or finished writing this song, either last or next to last. I know that this whole time we've been talking about the podcast, we kept on saying that Morning Light was last, but now that I think about it, I may have been wrong about that. I think I had my batch of songs and was pretty set on them, and then Clarity happened. And I kind of discounted the idea because I had it for so long and it never turned into anything. And then all of a sudden it was just this outpouring of no, actually I did this song, and it feels like the end of the album, and it has to be on there, which is kind of cool. So it is this kind of classic ending of an album song. We had this discovery when I was looking for pieces of for inspiration, and I found this Kimbra song that kind of lives in the same world.
Mhm.
If I remember correctly, it's the song that ends her album too. Version of Me.
Version of Me.
Yeah. Which I wrote this song without knowing that song existed.
My goodness.
Which is crazy.
Love that song.
Yeah.
Love that song.
Yeah. So like everything that I was grappling with, searching, yearning for, trying to accomplish throughout the album kind of boils down to a few things. Is like valuing the truth enough to seek it, go through all the trouble that we did with all of our change thread and searching for our tools, applying our tools, getting
Fighting
them in
the
the
codependency
fighting the
battles.
codependency battle. Like this song, you know, I wrote it after going to therapy. That is like, that's seeking the truth and whatever, especially in this particular like EMDR experience. So, this song really deals with kind of the implications of where my codependency came from, which is why it's this epilogue.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with the actual battle. It's this afterthought of like, how did we even get here in the first place?
Yeah.
You know, and it just kind of explores that idea. So the song's narrative purpose is to express that although it might hurt to accept and fully digest, seeking the truth can provide the opportunity for desired growth and forward motion.
Yeah, that risk taking.
Yeah.
Yeah, seeking the truth is risky.
Yeah.
It can be risky.
Yeah. You know, and we had the synthesis of our tools that we used in Bird in a Cage. But I love that this is one step further, right? This is, because that was very action-based.
Mm-hmm.
This is understanding not in an intellectualization way where we're intellectualizing so that we don't have to take action. It's like we've taken action and now we just want to know everything that we possibly can to further like serve as a safety to not go back to old ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I meant last episode when it's like clarity is the rumination at the end, right?
Yeah.
We had a little bit of a rumination at the end of Bird in a Cage, but it's shorter because we need to get to the point in clarity, because clarity, we need to sit in that for the whole record, you know?
Yeah.
In relation to the whole record. It's like the long extended bridge at the end of the certain songs. The clarity is that.
Yeah.
In relation to the whole record. You know?
Yeah. So the lyrical narrative of this song, when I think about it, the first thing that comes to mind is that this one feels a little bit more straight up. I don't know. I always had this perception of my writing being very like not easily found out. Like I didn't ever feel super straightforward. This is very like
authentic and vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah. Lyrically,
sure.
It's very straightforward. Yeah.
And although I use like metaphors and imagery to express a lot of these thoughts, it's still like they're not hard to figure out. It's not some elaborate metaphor.
Yeah.
That unless you have all of the poetry tools in the world, you're gonna like it's pretty simple, right? So practicing this explicit nature, again, we're informed by our tools. We're gonna use them, apply them to writing. We can apply them to anything. So yeah, and it's just an exploration of where these tendencies came from, and an acceptance that the truth is the best even if it hurts, you know?
Yeah.
So musically, I wanted this one to be an emotional banger. I love that phrase, honestly. We went for felted piano, which we also used in Bird in a Cage, but we really, really hear it here, stripped away from every other instrument. You know, like you can hear it so much so that it almost turned into a problem. We got this felted piano and the microphones just really, 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 really picked up the mechanics of it. And it was almost like too raw and like realistic.
Yeah, the mechanics were almost louder than the actual pitches.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had to do something about that, which we'll get to. But
something very
controversial. Yeah. I always wanted this song, whether it was in the context of the album or played separately or on a playlist or wherever you might find this, to just very much be striking and evocative emotionally and elicit this emotional experience kind of the same way Salt did, but in more of a standard song form, whereas Salt is contrary to that.
Yeah, it's very just like, it's like one state of mind for like a quick second.
Yeah. So we get to the ultimate duality.
Yeah,
And
which we
in a
mentioned a little
way,
bit before.
all the other dualities can kind of fall under this one. I think
Right.
you can make that argument, right?
Yes.
So the duality for this one is necessary suffering versus unnecessary suffering. And that's a mouthful, but it's just absolutely the essence of this song and ultimately the conclusion of the album, right? It's what if we learned is everything is hard. Staying in the state of codependency with not great fulfilling relationships, not being authentic is not fun. What's also not fun is having to take these risks and constantly do self-work and constantly be aware of, is codependency lurking around the corner? That's also hard. However, the consequences that yield from that necessary suffering are good.
Right.
Whereas when we just go through unnecessary suffering, we stay in the bullshit. So it's like, it's going to be hard either way. So you might as well do the right hard thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Yeah, and I really do think that all of the other dualities can kind of just fall under that category. They relate somehow.
Yeah.
Trapped versus free, light versus dark, strength versus delicacy,
Mm-hmm.
everything. I think they all kind of hold up to that idea. So yeah, we're brought to the point where you heard this song and we stepped into it together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, right? What's one of the variables that makes this song, you mentioned it, striking, right? Is something very distinct about it, which is the vocoder. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of it. There was a lot of vocoder. I look at the session and there was vocoder chords on every single time the vocal was present, the vocoder was present.
Which
Completely throughout the whole thing.
I didn't intend it to be that way. That was just so that we had it, but we never like went into
Mm-hmm.
crafting it in any certain way. So
Right.
it just ended up being like, well, we don't kind of know what to do with this mess. So let's just leave it alone and not use it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, Aaron, like, I think that maybe we should just not use it. Or like, I don't know. It seemed to be a problem the way that I like wrote the parts. Because I really did just splat a lot of MIDI data.
It's totally splatted, and that's kind of what makes it amazing.
But that's why I liked it. Because like to
Yeah.
me, that's what I think of
It's
when I hear
smeary.
vocoder is like, you hear this straight tone vocal and you can do stuff with the facility of a keyboard to a voice that you can't do with a voice at
Mhm,
all.
mhm.
It's not auto-tuned. It's something more expressive and
You're just adding the human formant of the voice and the overtones and the shape of the things that make our vowels and consonants and words sound like what they sound like
Mhm.
to synthesizer.
Yeah. So I was like so surprised that when you were like, no, we should bring the vocoder back. Let me just see what I can do with it. I was like, no. I was like, I can re-record the part. Like, I know that it's like I had this idea in my head that it was just way too dense or way too complicated or like,
But there's not a lot, right? It was cut up quite a bit.
well, you ended up cutting
Right, exactly.
quite a bit. And
Mhm.
I was like shocked that you got the end result that you did with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it works just right. It helps with phrasing. Again, it's just another example of orchestration, right? We can add another sound in certain moments to establish patterns and establish changes of sections and emphasize certain moments.
Yeah.
And I thought the vocoder was the only thing we had available to do that,
Yeah.
right? Because the piano was consistent throughout the whole song. The vocal was the prominent thing, and the strings needed to exist in an equal plane.
Yeah.
Right, they needed to kind of like coexist with the vocal piano thing. So that vocoder, it just provided some level of back and forth and three-dimensionality to it.
Mm-hmm. I'll also say for this one that it wasn't a hard decision for me at all to just kind of pass the ball to you in regard to the string arrangement.
The whole string arrangement is me. And actually, I have to say that like this is some of my proudest string writing. I really put a lot of time and effort into this. As the title track on the record and the emotional prominence that it had, I knew that I can't mess around, right? I've got to channel every little aspect of my compositional intent and harness every tool that I have to like make sure. And I think that, maybe we haven't talked about this. I'd be curious to know as to why you were like, yeah, Aaron, just do this. You know, why you felt that way. I don't know if you might remember why.
Yeah, if I'm being fully honest, I do think I was reaching some certain point of fatigue. Like, I had a lot going on in my personal life at that time, and we were so close to reaching this, like, okay, let's just be done with this, like, pre-production phase and let's get into having the string sessions and everything. There's also just, surprise, surprise, this intuition that I had that, like, you know, it mattered to me on other songs that my voice was heard and expressed through the vessel of, like, these secondary elements and especially the strings. But for this one, it was my place to know where I needed to step aside and just let someone else who had a lot more experience and expertise in this field come in and do the job. I felt like I had grown so much and I had learned so much, but I still just, like, wasn't the person for it.
Right. So putting that onto yourself.
Yeah. It was almost like I was being the producer.
Internal, external vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it was both. I mean, I think I'm hard on myself, so I pay attention to maybe you were a little tired and maybe it would have been hard to, like, find the time to really do it. But I also had this overwhelming sense of just, like, I knew you would knock it out of the park, and the whole rest of the song was me already. I didn't really need to add more me to it.
Oh, I mean,
you know.
Yeah, you could have.
I could have, but
in a way too, it's kind of a fun, for the last song on the record, it's kind of an interesting, I say fun, I mean, it's kind of a flippant word for it. Like, it's a potent and special kind of representation of a purity of the collaboration of you and I musically. Right?
Yeah.
Like, here's me with the strings, here's you with the piano and the voice, right?
Yeah.
And just, like, how do those things interact musically and how those instincts kind of interact, and, you know, in just this one-on-one setting. Kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally the right decision. It's so good.
I'm happy with it too. So yeah, let's step into the song here. So there's layers of priority in this, right? Obviously the vocals are number one. But as far as, like, instrumentally, the piano is number one, right? It's supporting the vocal. It's the most intimate thing. It's connected to you as a persona. The seat noise, right? And the mechanics, you can hear all these things through the compression a little bit more. You can feel that a human being is just playing this physical instrument, right? And you could have honestly sang this and played the piano at the same time, right? It's like, it feels like that was possible,
right?
You know, and I think that is extremely authentic. Right, there's a vulnerability to the rawness of that. Right, we're celebrating these things. We're celebrating these tools. The second sort of tier is, you know, probably the strings. You know, this emotional, gestural, hyper gestural things that are just like smears of light and paint and shapes and sound, and, you know, it's that are just happening around this and creating an ethos around this piano part. And then the third tier of importance is interestingly the vocoder, which is attached to, like, the vocals, which are most important. But sonically, they're intermittent, right? Piano's the whole time. Strings are most of the time. Vocoder is less than half the time, really. Interjections. Here's a line, then here's a line. Here's part of a line. There's nothing. Then here's vocoder at the end, and then, okay, here's another couple lines, and maybe a responsive line, and nothing again, right? So there's a lot of back and forth with the vocoder, which is a lot different than other things in this record.
However, it still is so significant when we're dealing with a piece that only has 3 instrumental elements.
Yeah, everything
plus
is going to be very significant.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, because there's only a few things, developing those kind of, okay, well, who's the most important? Then who, and then who? Whereas, like, a song that has so many different things, you are prioritizing that way, but sometimes it's like, oh, they're kind of equal, there we go, yeah, okay, everyone's on that tier, everyone else is on that tier. Here was like one instrument per priority tier, sort of, and how do we balance that and keep it throughout?
Yeah.
And the tune starts in 7, you know, in the way that If I Knew, right, without the pulsation, right, had its mixed meter kind of experience. Same thing with these placed chords, right?
Right.
But now without the comfort of what's in between them, just there's a lot of negative space in this, right? And we're just we don't even really know at first what the meter may or may not be. I mean, we could probably figure it out, but
no,
it really implies that.
Funny enough, like I have a hard time even performing this song because at the tempo that we're at, we're kind of feeling it in this faster 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. You know, maybe even faster. I don't know. We haven't listened to it, but there's the difference between the group of 3 and 4 is so slight, and without having any pulsation, I'm curious to know if someone would even notice until later in the song. That's why it's also really hard to play. And then it kind of begs the question, why even have it in 7 though?
Great question.
Right? I remember, and this kind of ties into, I think, why we're able to achieve such a high level of interest with such sparse instrumentation too, is because this whole song, for the most part, besides the pre-choruses, are in odd time. Verses are in 7, choruses are in 5, pre-choruses are in 6.
Pre-choruses are 6, but then 7.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of this.
We don't have a lot of even time.
Yeah. There's no bars of 4.
Yeah. Not one.
Yeah. 1 bar 4 in the outro.
Oh, okay.
To transition,
which is almost just like we're holding space.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's almost like a fermata that we just timed out appropriately.
Happened to be 4 beats. Yep.
Yeah. So what's funny is like when I started writing the song, it was in 4, and I have an awareness when I sit down to write something to somebody. It's one of those things where someone says something just so like willy-nilly, and they have no idea that it's going to stick with you the way that it did. Years ago, someone was just like, you write a lot of songs in 6/8. And now I have this like crazy awareness of like, what meter am I writing in and why? And I think it's a good thing overall.
Oh yeah.
Because you have your natural inclinations, and I can't tell you the amount of songs that like I've actually wanted to start in 6/8, but then I realized like, no, I'm just doing this because this is it's not this good intuition. It's like a personal trope that's this like immature, uninformed, like
maybe running out of ideas,
lower
and like, start here.
Lower self, right? But then we can always bring that up to our higher selves. And it seemed too square and boxy when I was in 4/4. It really did immediately.
Yeah, because this could be bum 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 bum.
Weird though, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing else in between that's really conveying the difference between that, but it felt boxy, it felt too predictable, just all of these things. And then simple, take out 1/8 note and see what it does, and that was just absolutely the right answer. Yeah. And it does give you this sense of like, hey, what's going on, even though it's not like slapping you in your face, like and even if you're not counting it out, maybe it just gives you this sense of like subtle uncertainty,
especially because you're syncopating within that mix too.
Uncomfortability. That was a fun discovery for me to like make on my own. It felt like a evil genius moment for me.
Yeah, for the music nerds, like one composer that I love who really like composes things without actually even notating the meter. Like for those of you who don't read music, you may be familiar with like a time signature or a meter. If you haven't, it's what tells a musician how many beats are in a bar and how to treat those beats and what exists within them. And oftentimes we use that to know ahead of time when we're going into a bar, like this is what to expect. This is bar 7, this is bar 6, okay. And when we're studying it, we kind of figure out how that's broken up. But Samuel Barber, he would just change how many beats and how many divisions would be in a bar, but not write what the time signature was. It's just like, just read the notes. You don't have to know what the bar is. Oh, that bar has 7/8 notes in it. That bar has 9/8 notes in it. That bar is 3. That bar is 7 or 5. It's like, there's something really cool about that, I think. It's just like, it's just about the phrasing. It's just about like how much to play. Like I'll show you with, phrase markings and other things what to do. You don't have to know the meter.
Yeah.
And some aspects of this tune, but, just remind me of that sentiment where it's like, it's just in 7 because that's just how much time it needs to be between each downbeat of each bar.
Right.
But it's not like you're not like driving home 7/4 the typical ways we may have in other places in this record. It just like happens to be 7 beats is the right amount of time.
Yeah.
So thinking about meter more like that is like just length of time, which is why I encourage composers and artists to think about more than just square meters, and whether 6/8 or whether 4/4. It's like, well, you're composing in a very small box of what time can even be.
Right.
You know, it's like, just you should have an infinite view of time, and like how I can access any length or shortness of time at any moment. You know, and I think that there's times, you know, this song does what it needs to. It adds beats, it takes away beats when it needs to. Like the chorus being in 5, it pushes more than 7 beats. And in the pre-chorus we have 6, but then back to 7, but then to 5. Right? It's like we're taking 1 away, and then we're adding it, then we're taking 2. Right? And I think that that's really strong.
Yeah. In the first verse, we get a super clear pun, maybe intended.
Clarity.
Lyrical narrative right off the bat. You know, we're setting the stage again. It's affected, infected, yuck, sad, was the little girl I knew. I mean, that just says so much in such a little amount of time.
Yeah.
You know?
Very, and it's like infected. Like that's such a like...
That's a tough word.
Yeah, like brazen kind of word for this really intimate, a calm kind of like emotional space. It's like, whoa, it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
But we're getting to the root of the problem. Haha, another pun. Really, really quickly, right? Like, was the little girl I knew. We've never talked about our childhood self in this whole entire album. The youngest that we've ever been was the youngest that we were where the autobiography picked up, right? So this is already in this epilogic fashion.
We should add ick towards just like ness.
Yeah, of course, ick.
Yeah.
You know, it's separating itself lyrically already by going further into the past than we've ever gone before. And we're being a little diagnostic and reflective, right? So yeah, instantly transports at least me there. Like, you know, I have all these tiny little students, so I'm around lots of kids all the time. And when I think of the thought of like a little girl who's like 5 or 6 as affected and infected by these external forces, like the foundations of codependency that they might be riddled with for like the whole rest of their life, it's like it's a devastating thought.
Yeah.
You know, it's somehow more devastating to think of little kids that you actually know than thinking about your childhood self, which can feel so distant.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because they're right in front of you.
Yeah. Oh gosh. But the vocoder does such a job of kind of maybe even like tying us to this like distant memory of our old self by being kind of distant and back in the midst.
Too. It's actually funny. That wasn't even super clear going in, but I think it was that. It was meant to be second. We were thinking of it as secondary. I think that secondary nature holds that place, holds that narrative place.
Yeah. And we mentioned this kind of quickly, but although vocoder is a synthetic element in this song that should be the most organic and natural, it is just about the most organic form of synthesis that you can find, because
you have the human voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no two ways around it.
Yeah.
So, where else can we find like other synthesizer or vocoder example?
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, an old one, like I was in marching band in high school, and we did like a ballad that was based off of Imogen Heap. Is that, I don't even know if that's pronounced. I think that's how you pronounce it. Hide and Seek, right? Like that's such a classic older example of vocoder, and there's vocoder in so many places.
Oh yeah.
But that's like, it was like almost like a pop tune that was just mega popular.
Yeah.
And then like to draw on the jazz idioms, right? There's Robert Glasper.
Yeah.
Has a couple people that play vocoder with him.
Yeah, Terrace Martin is the one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
And then, but even now, like, to think about Jacob Collier, like,
Right.
He's he's everything.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah.
He's not classical or jazz or anything. He's just everything. He's a modern example. And the way that he uses his vocoder is awesome too.
Yeah. Well, his vocoder is somewhat unique. I think his vocoder was like, he had built like a MIT audio guy who's like one of his close friends, like, you know, designed some kind of thing that's like very specific to him.
That's so nuts.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like he's from another planet.
And, you know, the harmony is pretty straightforward too. Like we're in the key of D. We're using in the verse landscape all diatonic chords, which means we're only using chords found within the scale.
One key. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thirds stacked on top of each other. But something that adds another layer of interest is the voicing of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not getting the root of the chord on the bottom because I'm using drop 2 voices or voicings, which I guess I can demonstrate that real quick. Drop 2s are usually thought of as like guitar voicings, but they're super sick on piano.
You can use them in horn writing too.
Yeah. So anyway, if you have our chords happening in the song all in root position, this is what you get.
Like what a distinct emotion.
Yeah,
like,
it's weird. It doesn't sound
like the song even. It's like
not
those are the
at
same
all.
chords.
Yeah, so what you do is you take any inversion of that chord. So for this specific example, we're in third inversion where the C sharp is actually on the bottom. So we've inverted it from root position 3 times. Root, first, second, third. And then you take the second voice from the top, which would be this F sharp, and move it down an octave. It's the same notes, but it completely changes how that chord sounds. And then we just continue with third inversion drop 2 voicings up this diatonic progression. Ha. I change it there.
And
we get root there.
Yeah, that's fine though. Like it has a different focus because that low note.
Yeah.
There's another song. I'm pretty sure that's drop 2 stuff is it's I think Atoms for Peace, which is like a Tommy York side project. I can't think of the name of the song. They have there's a song on that record or one of those records or that record. I'm mixing a couple things up, but it's out there, you know. That exact sound.
Yeah. So just small little things can really go a long way when you're only working with a few elements.
Absolutely.
So, okay, that's kind of the verse, you know. So then we get to the pre-chorus, and this is where our harmony takes a left turn from diatonic land, and we start right on a flat 7 chord. It's a major 7 chord, so it's still kind of open and nice and kind of goes with the environment, but it is a little bit of a stark change because we're about to receive kind of a stark lyric. This pre-chorus is rough.
Yeah.
And it talks about, you know, the roots of where my codependency started, which is feeling like I experienced unconditional love, whether that be from
or conditional love.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the stark lyric that I'm referring to is this idea of the roots of the codependency that I learned all about and is present, I've been fighting and dealing with. Where did that come from? Well, it's experiencing conditional love, whether that be from friends, family, self, all of those types of things kind of perpetuated and allowed codependency to kind of infiltrate my life and affect me to the extent that it did.
Sure.
So we have some other crunchy chords like this B minor to this like flat 9 type chord, but then with some resolution too. I just think that the harmony really, really highlights what we're kind of dealing with lyrically.
Let's listen to that. And also I want to highlight the fact that this pre-chorus starts in 6/6, right? And then goes back to 7. It's teasing a certain meter, but then we go back to the meter that we were in the verse, right?
When we get back to
at the end, the second half of the pre-chorus.
Yeah.
And then we go into the chorus in a new meter, right? So again, it's departing another place to come back to the chorus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when we return to 7, we're returning to harmonic landscaping that we had in the verse too.
Yeah, actually I want to play that one more time without the vocoder.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, so when we return to 7, right, it's not just the meter from the verse, right? It's the harmony.
It's the harmony as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we just have like a tough pill to swallow of your love conditional, damaged, invisible parts of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it makes sense. You look at a concept like that straight in the face, and it makes sense that you'd want to turn back for a second and kind of be like, oh, go back to this comfortable place, which is like verse, right? Mm-hmm. It wouldn't have made sense to just skip that little moment and go straight into the chorus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need some digesting time. You need to ruminate with that. You need to sit with it for a moment, and then we can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, after we have that breath of verse harmonic material, then we do have this kind of immediate change. Mm-hmm. Where we change time signatures.
There's subdivision is more there too, or division, really.
Yeah, there's more of a pulse. Which we kind of
bring back. We go to the 7/4 of the verse, but we bring it back with a little bit more pulse,
mm-hmm.
and then that pulse stays for the 5/4.
Yeah, I mean, thus far, our right and left hand they've worked as a unified force. We haven't heard anything other than chord.
Yeah, actually, there isn't any arpeggiation yet.
Yeah, so the first time that we're getting any sense of rhythm pulsation is when we arrive at this 5.
Yeah, it's the second pre-chorus that I'm just thinking about in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, I mean, we come back to this, like, B minor chord, which we heard a little bit in the pre-chorus, so it's some foreshadowing. Mm-hmm. We do have some of the same chords that we had in the verse, but overall, it's pretty different. We're in 5/4, so there's this cyclical aspect to it. And what I like about 5/4 is that it can feel like waltzish.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does feel kind of like that. It feels like, just as you be kind of getting carried away on a dance floor, like this chorus is a little bit reminiscent of Echoes, where it's just kind of like a run-on sentence and you're getting carried away and just riding the ride of whatever thoughts are kind of coming through your mind as they come, right? So this idea of just like, oh, I'm going, I'm spinning, I'm here. It has
but
that
it's
feeling.
Disjunct, right? I think it's really cool.
Right.
Like the verse is like not in 4.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, but it's in 7.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little off, and it's not in a way that's bashing over the head. Same thing with this chorus. It could just be like, doom ging ging doom jing jing do ging ging doom jing jing, and it's totally. But it's not. It's like the 6/8 thing that would feel, or the 3/4 thing that would feel like a waltz is truncated, and we have this boom ding ding jing 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 jing. It's a little bit more forward energy because we're taking away one of those beats every other bar, and we're pushing 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 and 1 2, and I think it really pushes that energy forward in a different way.
Yeah. Again, I think this song would honestly be really lame if this section was just in 3/4, because the harmony is, again, a little tropey, like which we've had in the past. But tropes aren't bad. There's a reason for them being popularized and utilized as often as they are.
We're juxtaposing that trope with 5/4 bar.
Exactly. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And then the strings enter.
Yeah, right? Like, there's no strings in this song until the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, very intentional, but I don't want to say a stressful decision for me, but it was like this is a decision, right? Let's let this song fully say what it needs to in a couple different ways.
Yeah.
And then let's let the chorus establish a new textural place.
Mm-hmm.
Let's refresh ourselves in a way. And also what's happening in this chorus, little sneaky thing, because the piano that had the mechanics that were too loud.
Mm-hmm.
The only solution that made sense for time was to take a virtual instrument that has mechanic sounds built in and utilize it when it was by itself in the verses and build the mechanics synthetically in a way. Like it has piano bench creaking sounds. It has the hammers. It has the dampers. It has the pedal movement. It has all the rumble from that. It has all of that kind of stuff in it. And I turn it way up. I mixed it in a way, blended those sounds into the piano.
Mm-hmm.
But in the chorus, I wanted to keep this original piano as much as possible. So I bring it back in because we have strings and it moves a little bit more. It's a little bit more rhythmic with pulsation. Right. It's not like chord. It's like
it kind of works with it.
It's almost like this other layer of percussion.
It's like
kind of
composite
supporting
rhythm.
Yeah, that's supporting the piano in a way, right? So
yeah.
I'll just like highlight the piano by itself here in the chorus. Listen to just the rhythm of that. Check, 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 check. Ah, yes, some salience there. We do have one bar of 3. And then we go back to 7, and there's no inner pulsation anymore. There's no division to keep us grounded, but we do know the sense of pulse that we felt.
Yeah.
Right. So, but anyway, I love the way those mechanics give that percussion layer to everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to go back to our good friend Schmerg, the chorus is kind of an emphasis on the sound aspect, right? Mm-hmm. Because texturally, we wanted the chorus to kind of bump up a tier dynamically, and we used orchestration to do this, not greater dynamic
not
markings.
A huge dynamic difference. It's just like, let's add the strings.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Rhythm, we got more
pulsations,
dense rhythmic material rather than, okay, let's just chill on whatever it might be, like dotted blah blah blahs that I can't think of right now.
Dotted blah blah blahs. That's a good note.
Yeah, and then the vocal melody is longer and it's more legato and there's freedom and uncertainty there, whereas the verses in contrast were kind of just like statements. Lots of space.
Very spoken, which is what the way verses typically are.
Yeah.
And choruses really are a lot of times it's dee da da da. Mm-hmm. It's like very lyrical, very long phrases, legato like that.
Yeah, because here we're experiencing the emotions. Like sometimes there is something to be said for this like matter of factness of like, yes, there was a girl and she was infected and she was this and whatever. This is more of the emotional aftermath of that we're in the moment. And so because we are hurt and a little bit more broken, we have, we're relating our vocals a little bit more to crying out, being a little bit more desperate. So at the end of the chorus, we get our titular reference. We say, find clarity, and then as soon as we find clarity, we're back in this verse landscape and it's more barren, right? So there's something cool about that, right? Clarity, and then everything simplifies.
It's just like the beginning, but now the strings are present, right? It's just like the beginning texture, but we have this new textural sound, right? And this little interlude. And again, another interlude with string melody, you know, a moment that strings can say something to give us a breath, give us a departure. Let's check that out for a second, because the way it takes a second here. Then strings.
Security, uncertainty.
Right. Again, these strings, they're very much just like smeared colors of paint. You're just kind of like smushed across a canvas. And you'll notice that it's another example we talked about, you know, encouraging Cassidy to look between the bar lines and formal structures for phrasing and arrivals. And this is an example where I'm trying to practice what I preach and have this, you know, you can hear without the piano in there, the vocals coming in are verse 2, right? But out of the interlude, the strings really overlap so they can finalize their statement and spill over.
Security, uncertainty.
Right? And by the sec that breath happens in the vocal, that's what's cutting off the strings, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it makes much more sense. We get that gesture that pushes us in. We can feel the push more if the strings pull back immediately, right? We can, whoa, that was a dynamic in. If we just cut it off with a dynamic push, that's a different type of drama. We don't want a drama of the departure of that texture. So we have to just choose to decrescendo. This is another example of composition telling us what to do.
Yes, we must obey.
We must obey the muse. The string melody here is connected to the piano. It's also kind of connected to the vocal, right? This little line here that's happening. It's like, the little girl I knew was the truth no far from you in first chorus or first verse. And then about to be in verse 2, there's the line, will soon begin to grow with the strength to stay or go. That's what this line is. So we can listen to,
was the little girl I knew,
right? And then we have this,
with the truth not far from view.
right? So we can hear that string melody, just a sort of a haunting kind of reminiscence of that. And then it smears and transitions, right?
Yeah.
So it's just borrowing from what's already there, you know. Again,
Totally.
practicing what I motherfucking preach.
And then strings stay more present in the verse and really start to develop their own identity.
Different personality from the chorus.
Yeah, I would
Right.
say they were more supportive in nature. And now,
in the chorus?
yeah,
Yeah, they're very padding. Like the chorus, we can listen to that real quick. It's very much just like fairly straightforward, following the chromatic movement.
yeah. Everything's kind of moving.
Right?
When I hear that, it's almost as if they're totally just, I hear the vocal melody like embedded in it so much. Like, it's almost like they want to be singing what the melody is singing. Like
but not trying to get in the way of it at the same time.
No, absolutely not. So I would say they don't have their own identity yet at all.
Yeah, definitely. Let's hear the vocal on that together. There's with the vocal. Right, it's all moving with the vocal and then response.
I can still see them trapped in time. So on haunted streets I'll throw a white blanket of snow on it melt away.
Right, like that vocal melody is really deeply imbued in that, right? And a couple moments of this single chord swell, right?
It's almost the same approach that we had with the vocoder so far. Where it's like we're following the melody just enough with these tiny little embellishments.
We haven't heard the vocoder yet, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Soloed out.
Well, then maybe that's why I think even less that these strings are their own person.
We've heard it. Sorry, they've heard it.
Soloed out.
I mean, we didn't solo it out to hear it kind of specifically.
Let's
by
just
itself. Let's listen to vocoder and vocals just from the top of the song and how it comes in and out. Yeah, exactly. The strings are meant to kind of play a similar role of in and out kind of personality there.
Affected, infected.
On those words, response, right? These singular words get the vocoder.
Her heart protected, mind collected with the truth.
Right, so we have this dyadic patterning there. And then now it's going to not, instead of some salience, right? Not going to come back. High thing.
Damaged invisible parts of me.
All those little shimmery little smears. Again, that's really where this string writing is like originated from, right? It's from the personality of the vocoder.
Yeah.
And the smeariness that you get from that. Even it's everywhere, right? Even in the chorus. Right, all the things that's going.
Yeah,
it's not in time.
No,
it's just like aleatoric rhythm. It's just like it's like just a mess of washy kind of mushiness, and that's the best I think against this very structured, architecturally sound piano.
Yeah,
pretty much the entire time. We need the smears to contrast those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, the strings are following that, but now in the verse they start to respond in a way that's very different.
Yes.
No fear to disagree, guard untangling with the strength to stay or go. Your love.
That's a line that Cassidy contributed to this.
That's the only thing. The only thing, and the reason being,
people are like, "That was really cool. That was the coolest thing."
No,
it's a great line.
The reason being is, before we had a little moment in the vocoder that did that. And I don't know if maybe you didn't have something in that space or if you did have something in that space, but I remember when you were showing me the string session for the first time, I heard it and I was like, I think we have to do that. And it took a little bit of searching, but we landed on it. It's super cool because probably no one would put that together, that was like a vocoder thing that we have already heard. But, or maybe it's even foreshadowing.
It's somewhere in the vocoder, yeah.
Maybe we'll find it, maybe we won't, maybe you will. But to have that be a fill where in another context it's attached to a vocal melody, it's kind of special.
Yeah, and it'll come back one other time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we talked about how the vocoder is the past too. Right, but I think a lot of thing is like the things happening around the keys and the voice are the past, right?
Yeah.
The strings are reflections. The past will be a part of you, right? These experiences, and we carry that too. Like there's a support that the strings offer, but there's also a challenge or a response or a reminder or nostalgia. There's a lot of emotional things happening, and that's why I think the string part is very varied. There's a lot of just like this gesture, that gesture, textural thing, some sequencing, but it's really ever changing because it's all these various disparate memories, you know,
that all end up equaling the same result in the end, you know.
Absolutely.
I love that. Yeah. Ooh, we have more to talk about with your string writing and pre-chorus too.
Pre-chorus.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
This is funny. It's basically a double of pre-chorus 1. I had a little bit more to say lyrically, so that was the answer for that.
Yeah.
You know, we have all of this awesome globular gestural string stuff, and then Aaron was like, yeah. So then for this, we just have single melody, and like that seems so weird to me. That seems so weird because in my mind, then and probably now, you know, I'm still not the world's most experienced string writer by any means. I think sometimes once you arrive to a certain texture, it's hard to depart from that. Or if you do depart, to know when and to what extent.
Yeah.
And just going from like this super rich, luscious string texture to just like, let's have one melody. And I'm like, that's weird. That's weird, because if you have just one line, it can't help but to be a melody, and we already have a melody going. And there's just all of these problems that I saw. And then I came around so hard. I was like, actually, you went with me. We tried some other things, things, and then eventually came back to the single note string line is definitely the answer.
It's an example of the pre-chorus departing and going somewhere, because what's about to come up in this pre-chorus before the chorus happens is like another gesture and then a space before we hit the chorus again. Right? So we have to reset our energy a little bit so we can grow, but we don't want to grow into the chorus because of a specific musical choice we made.
Yeah.
So let's go to single line, right? To just quickly change our texture. Again, this is an example where not dovetailing over the bar line is important, because we want a sudden reset. We're trying to encourage that reset of energy. Now, again, it's strings, it's gestural. There is a diminuendo that comes down out of that, before that, or a decrescendo that comes out of that. But, it brings up, why should a producer ever fight for a concept? I didn't, fight for this concept, but I was like, I think this is the right choice, you know, and, as a producer, you're in a weird place of like being entrusted with expertise, but like, what is expertise sometimes, and, what gives someone the right to have expertise or an opinion?
These big questions.
Yeah, I know. It's the last episode. Why are we even saying this? Why am I saying this? Again, this is kind of cosmic, right? And I don't know if I've just been watching a lot of different things, like directors and things talk about things like this, but like, it's my job to speak for the music.
Yeah.
Like speak for what the music wants.
Speak for the trees.
Yeah. I like that. I have facial hair, bald, it works. So
you're always naked.
That's right. He's not wearing clothes. I mean, Dr. Seuss is weird like that. The Grinch.
I know.
Like the Grinch is straight up that way. The producer, I don't know. I'm not fighting for my opinion, really.
Yeah.
I'm fighting for what I think is compositionally the strongest decision to make.
You're still advocating for the song at that point, which is what I hired you to do.
Right.
Further,
that's what I'm trying to do.
Further, especially in regards to the strings, because I passed the string torch for you. So right now, you're doing more than one thing. You're definitely being the producer for the album, but I gave you a job. So I said, hey, like, we're not collaborating on this. Like, this is your baby.
Oh, I mean, we did.
Well, I mean, we did, but you get the idea. And so then it's just like, at that point, like, you're more Aaron, the hired composer. And, we talked a lot about like knowing your place in any working setting.
Sure.
Especially in the realm of music. I think it's a lot less clear, because it's not like you're working for a company that has laws and there's a manual policies and all these things, right? So it's a lot more ambiguous, and there's a lot more gray area. But, for Morning Light, Release, Salt, and Clarity, I said, hey, you do the strings. Like, you be the leader. So it makes perfect sense that you would advocate the way that you did. It was a different approach. You probably would have done that anyway, but especially in this setting where you have a little bit more personal stake in it, because it's...
A little bit, yeah. There's a collaborative aspect for me there. For sure. But again, from the production perspective, it's like we've spent all this time for me understanding what you want to do with this project. It can manifest in really important decisions, and what do we do with this form, and what do we do with this chord progression or this lyric. And it can also manifest in like one little line or one little level of support, especially in a song like this that is so barren. And those little things make such big differences. So it's just about presenting different options. Yeah. Seeing if any of them relate different reasonings.
Yeah. And I feel like we have a really good working relationship now, where it's just like, I trust you, and I also feel secure enough to kind of second guess you. Like I there's like no
challenge it.
Yeah, there's no hesitancy totally. On my end at all to just be like, no. Nah. And I'm probably even like more relaxed with you than I maybe should be. Like I should kind of go in the other direction.
No, I mean, I think any artist should always feel free to be like, no, like I don't think that's the right decision. Yeah, I don't think any artist should ever feel, that's the sort of the point. Like you should never feel like you should always be as relaxed as possible and lenient as possible in your artistic opinion, to be able to just be like, no, that's what sticking to your guns is. I want to stay true to this. It's my job to be like, okay, good. Like you having a strong opinion against that gives me information to change my course into, okay, so if you feel that strong about this, what about this approach then? All right, so that gives me data to go off of. You know?
And it probably gives you as a producer comfort that the artist isn't just caving to and bending the knee to your every will.
Yes, the artist needs to stand true. That confidence is I think is important. You know, it'll come out in the writing. Yeah. So then there's a single line thing that then leads to this sort of the first time we have repeated things. Right. It's just who you are, right? And when the second just who you are happens, it's after. It's sort of after the string moment. So we have a single line and then string gesture, and there's empty space in the string writing to have this potent just who you are, which is a little bit more distant with the vocoder still present. It's a response. It's a little bit of like a, wait, you know, that kind of doubly, you know, that double saying of something that kind of reemphasizes it.
Your love conditional, damaged and physical parts of me.
Like that single line leads us to that blossoming really well.
Now I can finally see with bittersweet clarity who you are.
Right, that second one is even more of a gesture, right?
And then we have this
second thing.
Who you are. Just who you are.
This like reiteration of it with the lack of the strings and just the vocal.
The support is not there.
Yeah, you feel lonely. You feel the like betrayal in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then that just takes us straight back to the chorus. And if I'm correct, chorus 2 is pretty much exactly the same as chorus 1 when we return back to what sounds more like verse material, if I'm not mistaken. When we say find clarity, that's a little bit extended.
At the end.
Yeah, but everything else is exactly the same, except for we wanted it to be, of course, more dynamic, more of a cry, more of just this overwhelming and overflowing cascade and wash of emotion.
Right, which I think the strings really help with just by nature of their personality.
Goodness. Yes.
And again, we start the chorus similar to where we started the first chorus.
Yes.
But only to quickly kind of get off into a new foot of like, whoa. You know, it just suddenly is suddenly taking us over in a way that we were not prepared necessarily.
Black memories stain my mind. I can still see them trapped in time. So on haunted streets I'll throw a white blanket of snow on the moon.
That's where you have the do. Did you hear it?
It's two. There's one here. Right. There's that 1 4 against 3.
And then at the end,
and then it even comes back with this double bass.
The best single note of all time is right there.
Oh my God! It goes from that high. I don't have the score in front of me. The high note in the violin to the that low note in violin 2. I think it is. For 1, it trades to 2. Right. Wait, let me just solo out the strings there, just so we can just enjoy that textural change. Executed so perfectly by the players too.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that was just, oh man. You still feel everything that happened before it decaying over it, and that textural moment is just, it has a very unique feeling, I think.
It has a very unique feeling, and it's brilliant text painting, right? Because the whole goal of this chorus is to say, hey, I know that I used to do these things. On haunted streets I throw a white blanket of snow. I glaze over it. I try to brush over it. I try to not deal with it. I don't look it in the face. I pretend it's not there. All these things that line up with codependency. But then we get Let It Melt Away, right? That's the whole album.
Yeah.
In one line.
It is.
Let it go. I'm seeking the truth.
Yeah.
And then what do? Find clarity, because we realize that doing that is worth it. It's worth taking the risk. It's worth using our tools. Worth jumping off the cliff. It's worth everything, right?
Jumping out of the birdcage.
You get the whole album in one Let It Melt Away. 4 words, 5 syllables. And when we do that and have the most broad range of dynamics, textures, frequencies that we've had on this sound or on this song so far, and then it's like poof, gone, and then you just see this little note.
Yeah, so actually, right at Melt Away, it's this high A above C sharp. Yeah, and then it resolves down to B natural, right?
So this like...
And that whole texture goes
second,
from up there to go, shoo, bam. And it just is huge, like, this is our spectrum. And just, we experience that spectrum along that at the same time with that line that's the whole record. We experience this humongous spectrum in that period of time as well.
Yeah.
Spectral shift is a registral shift, I mean.
The interval that you chose is really interesting though too. Like that B, like an A to a B, with the highest to the lowest. Like there's some crunchiness of
a lot of
there,
crunchiness,
right? Like if we heard those 2 notes together, that's so dissonant, but it's so beautiful, which is very...
And, you know, remember, I've been taking this without the piano, and with that piano in, we feel why that resolution makes sense. You know, we hear this.
It's over the same chord.
It is over the same chord, but I think it's the gesture of this. A, right, to a B. That's the line that's happening. It's this line from before, right? And then again, this line happens again in the chorus. And then we go.
There we
right?
go.
It's all following the same texture there. That broken, 4/3 kind of thing is really just pushing us through, right? So it's an important thing. It's an important seed that you brought to the table on that.
That's funny. Yeah. And, it kind of harkens back to the other songs on the album, Well, we say it's a blanket of snow that we want to melt away. We had a whole song
about January,
and the poor tree was just stuck in this icy world, and
release helped melt that away.
Exactly. So it's like we're having,
and that was our side quest, right? That's where the learning happened. That's where the learning that happened to use to fight the codependency. It's an important distinction,
right? I feel like the album happens on a large scale in the song, and it also happens in small scales in different instances throughout, which is really, really cool. Yeah.
And the album art too.
Exactly.
Pays homage to everything.
Right, which doesn't fully exist yet, but the concept
maybe
is
it does
awesome.
At this point. That people are listening, who knows?
Yeah, definitely by the time people are listening.
Yeah.
But the concept of it is that we have the prelude plus a song that kind of serves as a unit at the top of every chapter, and then the rest of the songs are each kind of their own individual things. So if we group those sets of twos together, and then we have all the other singular songs, the album, it comes out to 9 things that we need to represent.
Yeah.
9 is a square.
Mm-hmm.
So my idea is that, each batch or single song is represented in one of these squares that people may or may not realize will work together to show this full image.
Mm-hmm.
However, when we get the full image, we lose the color, we lose some details, we lose a lot, and we see that it's just this black and white kind of barren and simple tree.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it's a tree. But what that does is it shows us that we needed to have every single experience that led to the narrative that I experienced that helped me bring these concepts and ideas into the songs. We needed all of that to be able to get to this point, to zoom out and see clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So we have all of these like mini worlds within this song. We can zoom out and see that it's all of the pieces. What did you just say yesterday? It's the sum of the greater of the sum of the lesser of the equal parts.
It's the whole of the sum part. It's the parts of the equal to the sum of the parts of the whole.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. I'll take that. It says exactly what we need to say.
Mm-hmm.
So the album art absolutely is just such an awesome way to kind of visually convey what's going on here, as this is an epilogue, because we didn't need to go that far. We didn't need to have the whole image put together and turned into black and white.
Mm-hmm.
It could have just been the way it was in this very chaos looking thing, but it still would have been a tree,
Yeah, the black and white, right? It ties it together because you have
ties
all
it
these
together.
different colored things.
Yeah.
The black and white will kind of make it homogenize a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So then the way that we depart from the chorus lyrically is that instead of saying find clarity just 2 times, we extend it, right? Because it's almost like a reminder to ourselves, like this intention, this idea of living in the truth, doing the work, choosing necessary suffering over unnecessary suffering is really what we want to do. Let's just say it a few more times to really cling to it, to really remind ourselves why we're here, where we come from, and everything in between.
And there's a textural shift that happens too with the strings. So like we listen to the end of the first chorus with just the vocals and the strings.
Mm-hmm.
Find clarity, clarity. Find clarity, clarity.
Straight up major chord, right?
Mm-hmm. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
Truth.
After all that density, we just hold those really, really kind of like straight up chords. There's a little bit of motion happening. Just want to like solo out the strings one more time, just to kind of encourage the listener to kind of find some of that motion that's happening here, right? I love that you could hear a little bit of that click bleed in there at the beginning. It's just, I could RX that out.
Nature of things.
But like,
you would never know.
I don't know. I just don't mind some of it. Like we have all the mechanics from the piano. You can't hear it. And it's just also just leaving some of that stuff in is kind of fun.
I wonder what kind of drove your motivation to have the strings be more delicate and distant and higher register as we go on. I'm assuming is the vocal, right? Because it's interesting, like we're ruminating on the title of the album. It's the title of the title track of the album. Although we've said this isn't like the climax of everything, we've already passed that. this is where we receive that word that we've been waiting for 4 times in a row. And weirdly enough, it's almost counterintuitive. You know, if someone didn't hear the context of the song, they'd probably assume, given enough details, that they're probably like, yeah, clarity, 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 clarity.
Yeah.
But it's the opposite. It's not this like triumphant, we've made it to the finish line, let's celebrate, hurrah, hurrah kind of moment. It's like this song is exemplifying the concept of reflection, and we've had this a million times throughout the record where that's not an easy thing to do. It's not sometimes a happy thing to do. It's a painful thing to do sometimes. And, you know, although this is in a way an arrival because, you know, it's the last thing, we're leaving the audience with these 4 words repeated. They clearly matter. Yeah. But they almost get more and more delicate every time we hear them. Your strings kind of support that statement too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, we've gotten to ends of narratives before, and it hasn't been this like glorious victory, even though it is a win.
I mean, it's been emotionally taxing.
It is,
and it's almost intentionally been taxing on the ears, right?
Yeah.
We've brought people through a lot of sounds and a lot of depth and a lot of demanding kind of listening. And I think that there's something really special about just like held chords with a little bit of, you know, a little bit of movement in there, just for a little salience.
Yeah.
On these just single words repeated 4 times.
Right.
That's it. Like it's this very potent, I think, again, it feels like an epilogue. It's just this like this fading away off into the sunset kind of feeling, you know, dissipating up into the stars. It's evaporating a bit, you know.
It can be understated. It is understated. I think the worst thing that we could do is hit someone over the head with it.
Yeah.
That would be going back to Speck of Dust where we started, is don't you fear that good night. Don't do this, do that. This is so much more informed. It's find clarity, do it. I did it for myself. It sucks, but it's good. I hope you do it too for yourself. It sucks, but it's good. It's
this pretty moment, right? We're saying find clarity. Like, look at how peaceful and serene this is, you know? Yeah,
well, you know, if we go back to the lyrics of pre-chorus 2, we got this key word of bittersweet clarity, you know?
Right.
And so, although we've heard the word twice before at the end of the first chorus, it is completely shadowed by this bittersweetness, right? Because what I just said, it sucks, but it's good. You know, it's not just going to be easy and fun and amazing. You don't just learn all this stuff and then get to a point where you never have to think about it again. It's not riding a bike. It's constant. And so it's like, welcome to it. This is new reality. You know, it's good. This is the honest one. It's not reality after willing.
Yes.
It's like, it's a tough pill to swallow. Like, this whole thing that you were trying to arrive at actually still kind of sucks. And it's going to be hard, and it's going to be hard forever. But this is ultimately better than any other position that you could be in.
Yeah, there's a purity. Think about all the complexity that's existed in these moments.
It's just
the record.
Truth.
Now there's just a very distinct purity.
Yeah. And the truth is tough sometimes, but it's always good. And that's it. We have this kind of restatement of the verse chords that we got.
For the outro.
And then...
almost verbatim is bookending the tune.
Yeah. I don't know if we lose time. I think there's some rubato at the end.
Yeah, a little bit of rubato. I think there's a bit of a ritardo into the last chord.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember this, but you at one point didn't love the ending.
Yeah.
You wanted to not have it resolve to the one and have this kind of like flying awayness.
Yeah.
And we didn't really. I remember when you said that, I just kind of like put it in my pocket and was going to save it for later, and it kind of didn't come up again. And I mentioned it one time, and you're like, "Oh yeah, you know, like I it's good," and I really liked it.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it didn't seem like we needed to have this whole big discussion because you weren't advocating for changing it after a certain point.
No, it was settling with me for sure. It felt like very finite. It felt like the book has been closed.
Yeah, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Very, very normal cadence to end a record that has been very much a deep journey here.
Yeah. Okay, and we must talk about it. The song doesn't end when the piano decays. Or, I guess I lift up the pedal. It's still going.
Can you hear that?
I still hear it. Tell us about that.
Well, I'm curious to know, I can't remember. I think through mastering, the length of this exactly may have changed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first, John at Parachute Mastering did an amazing job with these masters. These are not mastered, by the way. Everything you've been hearing on this podcast was the pre-mastered mixes.
Mm-hmm.
And he cut it off like pretty much right after the song. I think he just thought it was room noise or tape noise, just like normal things that like this noise can happen for like really good microphones, really good gear. They sometimes have this kind of quality because it's just like a nature of their electronics, right? So there's a starkness to the real world that we need to face once that sound stops. You know, that we have to be done with listening to this experience. You know, it's forcing us to be like, okay. So I really felt like the actual end of the track needed to kind of be longer, an extended moment of just that white noise. It's not technically white noise, but you know, that noise, that sort of hiss, that kind of sound quality. I felt like it's been present the whole song, right? And I felt like it keeps us activated in a way that we don't fully understand, right? Until we take our headphones out or we press stop or it stops, realize, wait, there was like a sound bed there that was kind of, and I think that being ripped back into life, one, is an important juxtaposition. But I think two, for those of you that can hear that texture as soon as the piano leaves and realize that like there's something still there, it kind of encourages you to like wait for it to end. And what do you do when you're waiting? You think about the record that you just listened to, especially if you know, it's really meant for the full album listeners who have gone through the full thing and have gotten to this point. Think about how much time has passed of experience. Well, you need a solid period of time to just like bask in that and be like, man, before you're just given silence, like actual silence of your room or your space. But
do you know what it really reminds me of? It's like, imagine finishing a book. I'm a person that once I read the last sentence of a book, I close it pretty quickly. But do you know what I don't do? Get out of my chair immediately.
Interesting.
It's like you reach the end of the book, and it is the end of the book. That's when I lift up the damper pedal and there's no more instruments playing. But then you have that time where you're like savoring being in that book still, where real life doesn't actually start again until you choose to get up. Now, we're not giving you that choice because it does end at a certain period of time. However, maybe on a vinyl record one day, that'll be the part that catches. And if you don't ever change the vinyl, it'll just get stuck in that loop.
I like that. Would this even all fit on a vinyl? I don't even know how long it is.
It's like 46 minutes or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jesse would know. He had to shorten Fantastic Wrist a tad.
Oh, well.
I think it might be 42 or 3 minutes.
Damn. Well, we'll see.
We'll figure it out.
But anyway, you still feel like you're in that story until you get up out of your chair and go back to real life. And that's what that noise does. It's like a double ending.
Yes. Absolutely. I think that's really great. And it's funny, like I should have just made it 10 minutes long, you know, just like make it infinite almost. So it's like people have to okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
They have to make that choice.
And streaming.
Right. Streaming, will probably cut off.
Well, yeah, we'll have to have two different versions, but how funny would it be like the world's least playlistable song is this song that actually is just a few minutes and then 10 minutes of this like.
This is why we don't write songs just for the hope of putting on playlists on Spotify.
No, but how funny would that be? It's like, oh, I can't put this song on there. I really like it, but then it's like I always have to skip it.
Yeah, maybe it's the hiss is just its own track at the end, the bonus track.
That's funny.
Meditative hiss.
Yeah.
All right.
We've made it. Wow.
We've made it. Yeah, we can kind of tie it to the narrative a little bit, but again, this is the epilogue, so
it doesn't have our classic threads.
Yeah,
like
our threads are defined. They're finalized in Bird in a Cage for sure.
Yeah. This song is a thesis statement for our entire journey. It kind of encapsulates everything.
Yeah, like it does musically and kind of pays homage to things, kind of like Bird in a Cage does.
Yeah. It's the ending, but in a way, it's also it prefaces everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it that way.
Yeah.
It's just we mentioned this before. It's kind of like it was Echoes, where we had this prelude at the beginning that said everything about the song, and then we come back to it, and it's kind of like a conclusion is just a restatement of your introductory thesis statement.
Exactly.
So this kind of, it serves as both, you know, it's an end and it's a beginning. It's everything. It's separate.
It's an end credit scene. It's when the credits are all over and there's actually another scene that's, the people who stayed there and see it. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And usually that's foreshadowing for something else.
Mm-hmm.
But you could argue that it is foreshadowing in the sense that it is a prequel-esque moment.
Yeah. It touches on narrative elements that we experience through everything that we've gone through in the record. And now we have our holistic reflection tool set, you know. It's the conclusion from our side quest and the conclusion of our main quest to help us prevent undesired outcomes in the future. So find clarity. It's this, you know, again, I'll come back to it. It's like prayer or mantra or meditative goal that we're keeping at the forefront of our mind is this find clarity. Please remember that this is actually the thing that you want to do. Like, you don't want to go back to your old ways. Suffering is going to occur either way. It's going to be hard either way. This is the good, hard way. This is what we want to do. Yeah. So it couldn't have ended in another way.
I like the idea of ending with the title track of the record too, because it makes people see it at the end and be like, that's what it is?
Yeah.
What's the journey going to be before?
Right.
Before then.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the fact that it doesn't even truly belong
in some ways,
the main narrative.
Yeah, it's truly an epilogue. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is why
kind of the point.
I love that we've gotten to do this podcast because
it's given us even deeper context and relationship of the record, the things we've discovered making it, the things that we've discovered talking about it and over these past podcast recording days.
Yeah.
You know, we've made even more discoveries having been connected and attached to making it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we just hope that people who listen to this record are excited to listen to it with the intentful ear, attentive ear, attentive. Attentive? That doesn't sound right.
It is.
Attentive ear.
Yeah.
Well, who knows?
With antennas.
It's pretty late. So
if you've made it this far, I just want to take a second and say thank you.
100%. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing has kind of just been this insane journey of when I'm 95, I want to look back and just know that I did everything I could. I didn't know that was going to include a podcast in which we rehashed everything and spent probably close to 100 hours at this point,
right,
on top of just making the record,
right,
so that consuming this record for anybody who cared, whether that be 5 people or 5 million people, a girl can dream, you know, that they could have the deepest possible experience that they could with it, you know? So thank you if you've listened so much. I'm honored, honestly. It's pretty cool. And just to have this accomplishment for ourselves, you know? I think it's awesome kind of looking back at this record, and I've heard a million times of people being like, okay, so when are you going to put it out? When are you going to put it out? When are you going to put it out? Now, valid, right? I'm glad
they're so excited. Thank you for being so excited.
I'm glad you're so excited. I'm glad that, you know, you care and that you pay attention to what I say I'm doing and whatever. I think that it's kind of awesome that, you know, going back to that day where I wrote those 4 chords for Bird in a Cage, and I was like, holy shit, I need to make an album talking about this like perfectionist codependency, needing validation from others, like not having an insane like motivation of, oh, I need to get this record out because I need people to hear it and I want to have that validation. The cool thing about this is like, I think a reason that it's taken time and I've been okay with that is because I've checked my box.
Yeah.
I made it. We made it. That's all I set out to do. And when we look at our song goals, it's like, I just want to be able to listen to this song. Me, not anybody else. Me.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to compose more. I want to be able to listen to this thing and know that I did it. It's not art for the sake of other people. It's not like we made these pop songs so that they can get playlisted or that we can make $1 million off of streaming. It's art for the sake of art. And for me, even in this moment where it hasn't been released yet, like it served every purpose that it possibly can for me before it's even gotten released. So of course I want to release it. And of course I want people to have their own connections, and I can't wait for that time period. But I think it's also cool to have just made this thing and like just be so okay with the fact that it exists because I love it so much, and it not need to be rushed to be put out into the world because I'm not seeking that validation. I'm not seeking like this life-changing music career. Like I'm doing other stuff in case that doesn't happen. You know, like it's art for the sake of art. And I think that
contributing to the ethos of
and I think that shines through, and it does everything that we set out for it to do.
I think so. And it's nice to be able to say that.
Yeah.
Because we took the time and effort to think about it the way we thought about it, as you can see from this podcast.
Yeah. So let us know what you think.
Definitely let us know what you think. Please reach out.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear literally everything.
All right. Well.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for listening to Clarity the album.
Clarity the album, yes.
And Clarify the podcast.
Yeah.
You guys rock.
Toodles.
Bye.